Oh my God, quick, you gotta watch this before they delete it. And you won't be able to buy Bitcoin at the maximum to maximize your profit. No, just kidding. All right, let's get on to the show. Bitcoin and Ethereum. What's its next move? Let's find out in the chart, shall we? Bitcoin, is it going to finally break down to the 38.2 and the 13 EMA, or are we gonna finally be able to buy Bitcoin at below 20,000? Please, please. Everybody and their mother are praying for Bitcoin below 20,000 because we're so used to the $23,000 level. Or are we gonna get? Are we gonna see it bounce from here and watch it go thermonuclear up to $30,000 and we're by the Bitcoin? We're gonna talk about that and more in today's episode. We're also gonna talk about Ethereum. Is it a security? Right. Also, 900 billion. Stimulus for the land of the free, home of the brave. And banks, they can buy back their stock now. Wait a second. Why was that illegal before? We're going to talk about why that was illegal. My name is Da Vinci Jeremy, and if you're interested in trading all of that, you can do so with the links in the description below, right? There's lots of bonuses, and if you own the DJ15 token, you'll also be receiving some of the revenue from all of my YouTube affiliates and my YouTube commercials that they pay me for that. All right. I'm joined with Inti Campos.
Good morning, people. How are you today?
Oh boy, man! You know what? Banks that can buy back their stock. I'm looking forward to talking about that. Inti, you know why?
Why?
Because when you think about it, right? You get as a CEO, you get paid a bonus for your stock performance.
Of course.
So you could go borrow money, right? Which you're not liable for. Everybody else is who owns the stock is. And then, buy up the stock with that borrowed money. Right? And so if you borrow more money than the company can actually pay back, that's not your problem.
Are you going to earn a lot of money doing that because your stock is overperforming?
Yeah, your bonus is tied to your stock performance.
But that's destined to fail, right? that has to explode at some point.
Duh!
So I guess that is why it's illegal, right?
That's why it was illegal.
It was. Now it's not anymore.
Yes.
So they're pulling out all the tricks they can in order to keep the stock market alive. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yes. Oh man. Anyways, we're getting into all that and more in today's episode. So I'm sure you're looking forward to it. We're having so much fun here. So Inti, don't you have a few words to say before we get into that?
Yes, I do. As always, people, it's worth to remind you that this video is for entertainment purposes only, and this is not financial advice. Please do your own research before putting any of your hard-earned money on the market.
Alrighty. So let's get into the news first and talk about what's going on with ETH 2.0. Is this going to be a securities regulation bomb, right? Regulatory bomb. And I'm like, oh my God, when I read this title, I'm like, really? Okay, let's read through this, right? Proof of stake focused Ethereum 2.0 has gone live, seemingly without a thought paid to whether the network's new system falls within the definition of a security for the purpose of the U.S. securities legislation. Given the mass penalties that can be levied for the offering of unregistered securities, and given that the SEC has left the door wide open for finding that Ethereum 2.0 does qualify as a security, this represents a massive liability for both Ethereum network and anyone looking to participate in proof of stake consensus system. Okay. Oh my God. I mean, when I read this, I'm like, This guy just had nothing better to do with his time, honestly. But we're gonna finish here because I want to get down to the part where the Howey test, and we can get into that. And you'll see how it was a waste of breath. This guy was just writing. Oh my God, this is clearly not a security. But hang on, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second. So, whether or not the offering is a security or is not vitally important, it's not vitally important. Not just for companies, but the protection of their investors. In markets already filled with hopeful speculators and naive investors and rampant market manipulation, those protections are much needed. Oh my God. First off, the SEC should not exist, right? These regulations to protect you should not exist. Why is that? Because the best way to protect yourself is to actually get burned by companies screwing you over, by somebody manipulating and screwing you over. So this way, you can learn on your own which is bad and which is good to invest into. And that's the best teacher, right? Also, if you're old enough to go, to war and get yourself killed or be owned by the U.S. government at 18, shouldn't you be able to, be able to invest your money and actually, lose it all? You should be able to be responsible for your own destiny, right? So why is the government trying to protect you from your own fate? They should not be doing that at all, period. And you have the laws on the books, as it is, to protect you from fraud. So, for example, if somebody tells you something and then does the opposite, like, for example, you write up a contract, you agree to do that contract, and they fail to execute on that contract, they should be going to jail for fraud. And that's it. That's all we need. We don't need anything else. Oh boy! But this is how we are. We have to live with what is, not what we should be, right? So, let's go on. Right, we're under the laws of the SEC, governed under the laws of SEC. Whether or not something qualifies as an investment contract and thus a security depends on an application of the U.S. Supreme Court's Howey test. The Howey test has 3 elements. There must be an investment of money, right? You're saying, well, yeah, you're investing your Ethereum, and that's money. No, it's not, because they didn't define it as money. Okay. There's an investment must be in a common enterprise. There is no enterprise if you think the Ethereum. If we went and killed everybody that worked for Ethereum, right? Just wiped them out, destroyed all their servers, would Ethereum still be here? Would you still be able to stake in 2.0? Yes, you would. Okay. Right? All right. Okay. There must have been a reasonable expectation of profits reliant on an effort of others. Okay. There is an expectation of profits, but it's reliant on yourself. For example, if I want to do a staking, right, I've got to set up a server, I've got to build it, I've got to fix it, I've got to set it up, make sure that it works. I have to take some of that money, right, of my money, right, and buy equipment for that. I have to take my money, right, and maybe buy some Ethereum with that if I don't have any Ethereum. But if I have Ethereum already, right, I don't need to take any money to do that. And I create this, I help secure a network. That's all I'm doing. So where does the securities come into this? I'm confused. I don't see that. So it's not a security, dude. You're smoking the cheap stuff. You need to get off. You're gonna have to put that stuff down, right? Come into the reality and leave this alone. All right. Next up is oh my God. You know what? They need all the poor people in America, right? Need that money. Need that $900 billion of relief, right? Because they're starving, they're suffering, right? $900 billion works out to be, with every working person, right? That works out to be working age at least, works out to be like almost $3,000 per less than $3,000 per person. But you know what? We're actually just gonna give them 600. The rest is gonna go to rich people. But with that 600, those measly 600, right? People living on the brink, struggling to survive, right? They'll be taken care of. Never mind the fact that we told them not to work and not to, just to starve themselves to death. But that's beside the point. We're trying to take care of them by printing money. Oh, that's right. We're going to give it to the billionaires, most of the billionaires. But you don't need to listen to that part. Who cares about that? Oh my goodness, ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. But hey, you know what? At least a lot of this money, the stimulus checks, right? I mean, I remember reading how the PPP, right, which was they're going to be giving it to small business loans, right? They're going to do this for mostly small business. I remember reading how massive amounts of new businesses are opening just after the last PPP because everybody knew they were going to do it again. And so if you want to get some of that hardcore money, right, especially since, a lot of cryptocurrencies, like, for example, Cardano, Justin, they got millions of dollars from that last payout. So obviously, wouldn't you want to get some of that free money there? Duh. Right? So that's what's coming down the pipe. And you know what? That's going all into crypto. Alrighty then. So, with that stimulus, right? They also have a new law, right, added to the allow banks to buy back their stock, right? Now, we've talked about this in the very beginning, right? But in the past, like way back in the 1800s, right? The shipping companies would lose if somebody was to invest in a shipping company, and this owner, right, was always liable if this didn't work out, the business didn't work out. So he would lose his house and stuff like that, and everything, right? Because shipping was very, very risky business, and so it became like, okay, well, let's go to the government and ask them, can you do me a favor? I'd like to separate my business from my personals, so that if I bet on something in business, they don't get to take my house, right? And so that might seem a little logical to you, but it's actually not right, in my personal opinion. And we could talk. You could have your own opinion, and if you do please, I'd like to read it in the description, in the comment section. But if you will make yourself responsible for the losses directly, right? It makes you will take less risk. Well, most people will take less risk. There will be still the odd person who goes all in and willing to accept the losses of their whole future wealth in order to do something, accomplish something, and even if it fails, and that's fine. And then there will be people who fail and lose everything, but at least it will take away from the people who are not, the people who do want to take a risk, but they will always make sure that risk is very low for them, and it will always make stronger companies in the future. And that's why I think that's much better. And on top of that, it lessens the crime, because now what happens is, as a business owner, right, effectively, right, I can load my company up with debt, right, and take that debt money out, and pay myself a massive salary, and then buy whatever I want, buy whatever property, whatever nonsense I need, right? And so if it wipes out the company, it's not on me. I don't lose anything. I get to keep all the assets that I've purchased, that I paid, that the company paid me for. Even though I signed the loan, right? I still get to pay. And I paid myself through that loan. Doesn't matter, right? And so this creates a perverse incentive for corporations. So obviously they made this illegal for corporations to borrow their money and buy back their stock, because most of the corporations CEOs and people on the board get a performance bonus based on their stock. And so they made it illegal way back when for you to buy back your stock. Unless you were a private company, of course, right? If you're a private company, it was still deemed fine because, hey, you know what? There was limited. You're one who owns the company, so that's fine. But at the same time, right? And nobody else is investing in it, right? So that's all right. That makes sense, right? Because, hey, you know what? I'm buying back the stock with my profits, or even if I borrow against it, it's still my company, right? And if somebody is dumb enough to give me the money, that's fine. So, but in a publicly traded company, it's something different, man, in my opinion. And I'd like to get your opinion as well. And so I think this is unfair. I think they're going to just, pump their stock prices, and of course, make the stock market look good, because you know what, the stock market is the most important thing for the government at this point in time, because that's where most of the revenue is coming from. Okay, let's head over to Bitcoin analysis and find out what's going on right now. Bitcoin is pumping back up again. We don't have any kind of W action just yet, just a lot of M's, as you can see on this 1 hour chart. We have like an M here, an M here, right, and another M here, and possibly maybe even another one here if this slows down and rolls over. Let's see here. We got another 40 minutes on this hourly. So if this stops soon, right, that's going to create another M with a little bit of a wick. So let's just see. We have to wait and see if this is going to roll over. And if it doesn't, right, what you can see, unfortunately, right? Can you see what it really turning into?
Beautiful W.
Exactly. So if it continues, what we can see is that this can probably pop a lot higher and go all the way, probably to. It's not the greatest W, but it'll probably go all the way to this last trend line before it actually rolls over. So don't be surprised if we break up to this trend line or close to it and then roll over. There's also, you can see what's up here. What's up here is my Hail Mary trade, right, of 78.6. Bitcoin loves to take. Used to love the 61.8, but ever since the big guys and started getting into this market a while ago, it's been switching to the 78.6. That's called the line in the sand, right? So don't be surprised if we're up to $2,400 again before we actually roll over and then come back. And then what we could do is create a bigger W if we do roll over and then go a lot higher. But there's still I'm like surprised if the 200 period moving average on the hourly is to wake down here. If you're so close to it, maybe we'll come to. I think we'll have to connect to it before we actually see Bitcoin go further higher. So it most likely will if we go up, roll back down, and then start to pump. Would this create another W if we head up here? I don't think so. Let me just clear out all the W's here. I don't see this. I don't see this as another W right here, so I wouldn't count this one line down here. Would need to create more of a bigger W here, and I think this bigger set of W would work better than it would than the other than anything else. So let's just see how this thing plays out. Let's head over to the 4 hour and see what's going on there. The 4 hour is below the 13 EMA. It's been there for quite a few candles here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 candles. I've noticed that we're not in any kind of oversold. Well, yeah, we're a little slightly oversold. Um, and is there a divergence? We had the divergence and we cleared it. So I'm wondering if this is the clearing of this divergence after we're done, because it was confirmed here. We came back up and then dumped. So I guess it is it might be finished. What we're looking for is whether or not we can break this trend line at on the 4 hour, and if we can, that's when it's up to off to the races. Failing that, let me see where the 200 period moving average is on the 4 hours. Failing that, look where the 200 period moving average is, right where we're begging Bitcoin to come back to, which is 19,300 level. So yeah, we could possibly see Bitcoin look at its 200-day moving average on the 4 hour once again. But that's a little way off. Let's see. Do I see a dabble there? No, not quite. Okay. That was interesting. If that would have been a dabble long. Alrighty. So, look, heading over to Ethereum. Right, we can see that Ethereum has gone down a little bit more and reversed on the 4 hour. Let's see, what's time? Oh, that's not. That looks like it's ready to pump. Let's just zoom in a little bit on that. If we close up here, we could. What do you call that, Inti? If we close this right beside that candle, what would you call these two candles?
Oh, I would call it a rail tracks.
Yes, exactly, railroad tracks. So once we create those railroad tracks in the next hour here, we can, and it breaks the wick of the second railroad track. To the upside, you can see that this thing is probably going to go pump higher, and most likely come up to the 61.8 this time around. Most likely. So the 61.8. Oops, you know what? I'm messing around with that. Why is it all the way over there? Because I wanted to guess how it was going to react. That's right. Okay, so the 61.8. I find it odd where the 61.8 is. I don't see it coming here. I really don't. At the 643. I think it will actually come back to the 38.2. Right? But this is a powerful signal, so we could end up back up here. But I find it hard. I don't see it, because I can see it coming to this red line, which is the 638, or coming close to it, and then rolling over. But the 61.8, that's why I was like trying to stretch it out, trying to figure out, well, where do this thing wants to go. Other than that, 38.2 is the only one I would see this coming to, because I find it hard to believe that it's going to press through this support level and then continue higher. Because you could see, right, market was supported by that because it was resistance before. And then so where else is it gonna have? It's gonna have a lot of trouble getting up in this level here. So don't see that. But you never know, right? The market is going buck wild for Cocoa Puffs on crypto. So we could see things that we've never seen before. Alrighty. As for, I really think as for its destination, I really think no matter what, I think its real final destination is right about here at the 61.8 right here. No, 78.6, which is at 560. I think it's going to touch this trend line and then continue higher. I don't believe it touched its 200 period moving average on the 4 hour before, and so that's where I would say we should look to buy. If you're interested in buying for the long term for Ethereum. As for Bitcoin, once again, I want to just go over. I would think that I'd be nervous. I would say, hey, you know what? Wait for this to come up here. Probably going to roll down, and then start looking to buy at these levels here, because who knows? I think Bitcoin might create a W here and then take off. If it doesn't, you're still getting a decent deal. The 200 period moving average is right at the levels where I think we should bounce for sure, and that is where you start loading the boat, which is what price is that? Let me just move my head out of the way. It's just below the $20,000 area. So start loading the boat if we get below the $20,000 area. I don't think I need to tell anybody that, right? All right, so let's before we head off to talking about let me just first talk about my token. Yeah, we've been bouncing around right now. We're starting to pump. And you know what? If we pump up to here, I'm gonna probably just help this thing along so that it goes right, breaks the top, and then we can see this thing start to skyrocket. Because obviously, right, what happens here? What do you see, Inti?
Mm-hmm.
If we break this level here,
it's a big W. It's pretty steep though.
Mm-hmm. If we break this level.
If you break the middle point to the downside, it's going to be a collapsing price.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see if we can get it up there. Let's see what happens. I don't know. If it's gonna happen, if it happens, it happens. If not, it doesn't. All right. So let's see. Let's just wait and see. Alrighty. You know what? I'm gonna be looking into this project here, Smart Key project, right? The Smart Key platform. Basically, it is a new project that's been IEO'd, and it's about providing access to all things with a lock, right, for cars and stuff like that. You share access to your car and stuff like that through the blockchain. Cool idea. I'm going to be probably talking with the CEO sometime soon. And if you're interested in buying this, it's also available on Ethereum on the Uniswap right here. If you just go SKEY, right? It just listed just a little while ago, and it's already starting to pump. So I think pretty much all the new stuff that comes out, everybody's going to be fancying the new fangled stuff, and I think I'm going to buy a small portion, even though it shouldn't buy up here. It's early in the game for most of these things, so I'm willing to take a small risk, very tiny risk. I mean, very tiny, like half an Ethereum, tiny. Maybe that's too much for you, and if it is, then you know what, you should be like $3 or $2 or $5, right? And then if it comes back down, then I'll start to add to my position a little bit more. So I always have dry powder. Because anything new, right? As we head into this new Bitcoin pump and new Bitcoin bubble territory, we're going to see all the alts, especially the new alts, just go absolutely bat crazy, man. We're just going to go absolutely crazy. Oh boy, looking forward to that, man. Already. Yeah. So if you're once again Smart Key. Right, here's the information of where it IEO'd. I'm going to place that in the description, and I'm going to be buying small amounts. And if you're watching this show live, right, hopefully you'll get some. It's not. I don't believe it's on CoinMarketCap. Yeah, I was actually looking on there. It is on. What's it called? CoinGecko. Now, keep in mind, it's already gone like not 10x, but almost 100x. From where it was, where it IEO'd. So the initial investors already got paid heavily on that. So don't be surprised if they start to dump on you a little bit. So that's why you might want to just keep your investments to a low minimum, right? So if you take a look right here, they got it at they got their entry point at 0.25. Yeah, so actually not a 10x, not a 100x, sorry, but it was less than a 10x. So they've got like 5x on the initial buy. So yeah, so keep that in mind, right? When you're buying, so don't give them too much more. by buying up a large amount of this coin. Keep your investments very, very small, and then if you get a little bit of a pullback, that's when you hit the buy button hard. Alrighty. Thank you all for watching. Right. I hope you guys learned something today and enjoyed the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Right. If you did join the show, and if you didn't like the show, the other button works as well. But don't hit it, please. And yeah, well, Bitcoin's real. Bitcoin's here to stay. So you need to be a part of it. Thank you.
Bye.